Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we are discussing the episode The House Always Wins. This episode originally aired October 20th, 2002, attracting 5.06 million viewers. Alrighty, so let's start off with what was number one at the box office this week. Dave, any guesses?
Hmm.
It is a seasonally appropriate film.
Okay. Again, going with a couple things from that year.
I'll
Was
give
it the
you
one I was thinking?
I'll give you another hint. It's a remake of a Japanese film.
Hmm. The only one thing that is immediately coming to mind with those couple clues is The Ring.
It is The Ring.
My goodness, I actually get one without it being passed off and only a couple clues.
Yes, it is The Ring with just a touch over $15 million in its opening weekend. And I'm going to have to go back and rewatch The Ring because I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
I haven't seen it, period.
You've never seen The Ring?
I don't believe so. Just
Oh,
only particular clips from the trailer.
okay. I remember enjoying it a lot, but that's probably like 15 years ago or something. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. This also led to them doing like remakes of like The Grudge and stuff. So, anyway, that's not important. Let us move on to number one song in America this week.
Song. Oof.
I'll give you a hint.
Again, still against that.
We've referenced it before.
Can't immediately recall ones from last week or any sort of popular song around at the time, aside from the one, but that's a couple years later, and that sadly seared into my mind.
Okay. It's Dilemma by Nelly featuring Kelly Rowland.
Yeah, no, got nothing.
Okay, fair enough. Neither do I. Surprising absolutely no one. Okay. So, and we will now move on to video games. So, what were we playing at the time? Well, you see, so on October 21st, so the day after this episode aired, Nintendo decided for the GameCube to release this little game called Mario Party 4.
Ooh, yay, the Mario parties and completely destroying friendships.
It's true. Also on October 21st, if you had a PlayStation 2, you could pick up The Lord of the Rings The Two Towers,
Ah, yes.
which, if I'm not mistaken, also included um, um, Fellowship of the Ring. Like that, there was like basically both movies in one game.
I wouldn't be surprised. I just can't remember if it's like the typical RPG one that wasn't exactly like the movies, or it was essentially just all the movies packaged into one game with play gameplay session or sections in it.
It was like a hack and slash kind of thing.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I remember the games actually being quite good, even though um, I've actually never seen the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, understandable. With the timestamp on a decent amount of them, you possibly couldn't waste that much time.
Yeah, no, they're all like 3 hours or longer now. No, not going to happen. Anyway, moving on to October 22nd, which, Jesus, was this a big day. If you had a PS2, Xbox, or a GameCube, you could pick up the game Reign of Fire. Are you familiar with Reign of Fire?
Oh, yes, I vaguely know of the box art, but not much of the gameplay.
It's based off of a meh movie from around the same time with, I want to say, Christian Bale and someone else. That's not coming to mind right now. But
Hmm.
the move Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey.
Hmm.
It takes place in 2020 where dragons attack, and it's fine, I guess. I've never played the
Because,
game, though.
the thing that happened in 2020 probably would have been better if it was dragons.
I mean, it would have been preferable, yeah. Anyway, also on October 22nd, if you had an Xbox, you could pick up Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
Ah. Um, I think supposedly good, but I don't think it was the main interesting one.
I think Baldur's Gate was like a spin-off franchise for, or a Dark Alliance is a spin-off kind of thing of the regular Baldur's Gate games,
Mm.
which I think is technically related to like Dungeons and Dragons somehow, but I don't know how that all works. Anyway, moving on October 22nd, if you had an Xbox, you could pick up a little game called Death Row, which
Supposed yay.
oh, it's like one of these like extreme sports kind of games. Like, oh, it's the future, and we have Death Row inmates playing this sport, and like, if they survive, they get to go free or whatever. It's that kind of deal.
Sorry, sweetie, but a couple of movies beat you to that punch.
You have one or two, yeah. Also, on the 22nd, if you had a PS2, you could pick up V Rally 3 if you wanted a racing game, I guess.
Hmm.
Also, on the PS2, on the same day, you could pick up Contra Shattered Soldier, which I feel like probably wasn't very good because it was a Contra game on PS2.
Yeah, whether or not it was a case of they kept the side scrolling, but most likely they pushed it more into actual 3D models, either third person or even worse, first person.
Oh, this actually looks like it reviewed decently. It is a side scroller. This actually looks like it might be decent.
Okay.
I mean, it looks fine. Okay, so moving on, if you still on October 22nd, if you had a PS2, you could pick up a game called Defender, which is like one of them shoot 'em
Ah.
up like kind of space games. It looks like.
Hmm.
We continue on the 22nd still. If you had an Xbox, you could pick up a game called Sneakers, which looks like a game where you play a mouse. Oh, it was exclusive to Toys R Us in North America,
Supposed yay?
I
Like the
guess.
only one thing I'm thinking of is that joke from one of the Marvel movies.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Like there was one particular joke where it was just like sneakers. Just it made sense, but it was just like, oh my god.
Okay, I don't remember this. On October 22nd, still, if you were a PC gamer, you could pick up Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring, which I think was a port of like the Xbox game
Hmm.
that had come out a little while previous. Okay, on October 23rd, if you had a Game Boy Advance, you could pick up Fire Pro Wrestling 2.
Supposed neatness. I think that's the one that had the fire effects.
No, Fire Pro Wrestling is a series that has never really got a foothold in North America, despite the fact that they're great games. It is, how do I explain Fire Pro Wrestling?
Oh,
Um,
hang on. I think it's the case that you showed this game off to me once, but one of the later sequels.
we played Fire Pro Wrestling World once, which was on
Yeah,
like
so I can understand with
the,
it being released around at this time.
yeah, they're very timing based and like it's very skill based. It's they're really good games, but they are challenging to pick up and learn.
Yeah.
Also on the 23rd, if you had a PS2, you could pick up this little game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4.
Supposed neatness. I'm not sure which one that is.
It's the one I mean, it's the one before Underground, but like it's a Tony Hawk game. It got really good reviews. It probably still plays really well because those games are really good.
Indeed.
On the 24th, if you had a PS2, you could pick up a game, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Shidoken 3, which looks like it's a series in Japan but isn't really a thing in North America. And
Because
finally,
there's one particular thing in my head, but it's either not connecting or just you pronouncing the name isn't correct to how it's supposed to be said. or how I've heard it said.
Well, there's a simple way to solve this. Boom, it's in the chat.
Oh, hang on. Hacking with the art thingies.
Okay.
Possibly? So tiny. It's one of them, but yes, it is a series.
Yeah, okay. No. And finally, on October 25th, if you were still rocking the PS1, you could pick up Austin Powers Pinball.
Because it is a thing that could supposedly be enjoyed.
Which, if I remember, this was like the cheapest cash in game ever.
Yeah,
Because
pretty much.
if I remember, it's a pinball game, but there's only 2 tables on it.
Yeah, that's sounding like the cheapest game. Like, cheapest style sort of thing that you can do. Just slap the particular memorabilia and whatnot into place and
Yeah,
add a couple little voice files and boom.
there are 2 tables, one for the original movie International Man of Mystery, and a second one for The Spy Who Shagged Me. I kind of want to buy this game because it sounds so crap. But moving along to the episode.
Indeed. Let's see about the other craps that's going to be going on in this.
Alrighty. So, we start off with Angel watching Connor stake a vampire. Cordelia shouts that he should focus on rescuing her from her boring life as a higher power. When Fred and Gunn confront Angel on the issues of Connor, Angel realizes that he has made life difficult for his friends, and he decides to take them on a trip to Vegas. They arrive at the
Did you
Tropicana.
know they supposedly have the money and whatnot to actually do that?
I mean, Angel's like 230 years old. He should have some savings.
Hmm.
They arrive at the Tropicana Casino where Lauren headlines, complete with scantily clad backup singers known as the Laurenettes. Lauren entices audience members to sing along and ignores Angel and the others. As Lauren rests in his private suite, he receives a visit from his employer and casino owner Lee DeMarco. Lauren is forced to identify the futures of people who sang in the audience. Gunn and Fred play blackjack while Angel worries about Lauren. One of the Laurenettes offers one of the singing audience members from Lauren's show, Vivian, a special trip to play a spin-to-win game. Fred continues to worry about Angel and Lauren. They investigate Lauren's situation to help ease Fred's mind. To get past the guards at Fred's door, Gunn has Fred dress as one of the Laurenettes. Lauren takes a minute to recognize her, but he is grateful to see her. He informs her that Lee DeMarco is blackmailing him for his psychic abilities. Vivian walks in a trance-like state across the casino's driveway and nearly gets run over by a taxi. Angel rescues her, and he manages to sneak into the special spin-to-win game area. Lee hands him a chip, which Angel tosses away, but it slides onto the table. When the house wins, Angel loses his destiny. Fred runs from Lauren's room and hysterically convinces the guards outside to enter the room. Lauren escapes, and the three run out into the casino to find Angel. He is playing slot machines in a zombie-like state, and they ask him to pose a distraction while they rescue Lauren. Angel is too entranced with his gambling to comprehend the plan. DeMarco is pleased when he receives information that Angel is a souled vampire, realizing Angel's destiny will be very profitable. Lauren confesses that he tells Leo about the people with bright futures so that they can be lured into the spin and win game. Their destinies are sucked into the chip they play and later sold on the black market. Guards spot them to pose a distraction. Lauren sings a high-pitched noise into a microphone, literally shattering light bulbs.
Yeah.
After they escape, Gunn angrily assumes that Lauren told Lee about Angel. Lauren corrects him by revealing that he is being blackmailed, and if he refuses to cooperate, people will be killed. When Gunn realizes that Angel's destiny has been taken away, he returns to the casino and finds Angel at one of the slot machines. As Spencer arrives with Lauren and Fred held in custody of his security guards, Angel resumes gambling. The rest of the group is brought back into the back room, where Lee orders Fred and Gunn killed, and Lauren to return to his work. Meanwhile, Cordelia manipulates Angel's slot machine to win a jackpot so that he can be brought into the back with the others. Lee's angered that someone won, but Angel has no explanation. One of the men pulls a gun on Fred which brings the demon out of Angel. He beats up Lee's men, and the distraction Lauren and during this distraction, Lauren smashes the glass ball holding the chips, causing all of the Destinies to return to their rightful bodies. Back in LA, the gang is glad to be home, although Angel questions what caused his jackpot win. As they head inside the hotel, they freeze when they see Cordelia standing in the middle of the lobby. Only, she doesn't know who they are or who she is. So, what did you think of
Yeah,
this episode?
yeah. So, on the one hand, when I first kind of got the premise of how the episode was starting, it's kind of a case of, oh God, it's another casino episode, and just all the particular trappings and whatnot that come from that. But, of course, the saving graces is Lauren doing his thing in pretty much just about all the cases. It's just always an awesome character to have on screen, all of his interactions and whatnot. Second was the idea that they decided to spin with it, where if you're gonna gamble, why not gamble your destiny? Which has involvement within all the episode. And just the case that Cordelia is also a part of this episode of, oh man, you guys are fucking idiots. What the hell are you doing? Get me out of here. But had enough to actually influence the one little bit to get things rolling along. Though, as I saw at the end of the episode, it was probably might have been a case of that might have been a bit of a no-no for her to do.
Yes, well, we don't know why Cordelia is back. All we know that she's back and she doesn't have any memories. Or at least she doesn't have any memories
Yeah,
of who she is or who any of who the Angel and everyone else is.
yeah.
Um,
Which,
yeah,
as it sort of sits, I'm still thinking with my idea that she had enough influence to affect that one outcome. And it was enough for the powers to be like, oh, you influenced something that wasn't supposed to happen. Bad. And sent her back. And with her being such an euphoric state, yeah, I doubt there'd be anything that would be kept along if you're brought back to Earth from that.
yeah, because the powers have never interfered in anything they shouldn't before. Oh wait,
Hmm.
I
But
I also love there's a couple of really great moments of Angel just name dropping people in this episode.
yes, with his recollection of, oh man, there was this one dude that was here that was so crazy. It's like, man, that place was torn down 10 years ago. No, I mean like an actual sad dude.
It's so good. He like comments on his like friendships with like Bugsy Siegel and the Rat Pack,
Ah, yes.
and like
Oh,
there's
and
this
of course, him going after getting his memory back and whatnot, being like, why do I remember that room? It's where the wedding procession was with Elvis.
yeah. I also love how he gets thrown out of the casino and he gets like beaten up by these two guards, and he's like, "This place is much nicer when the mob ran it." Oh, we also find out that two members of the Blue Man Group are demons.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. It does. Yeah, so this was a fun episode. It is kind of throwaway. Um, it's not super important to the overall story arc. I mean, we get Cordelia back and we get Lauren back, but I mean, you probably could have done that easier.
Yeah, as it is. Again, a bit of explanation possibly, but even then, probably not enough for the full episode. But nevertheless, they got the chance to go down to Vegas and blow out a couple of lights.
I do like the feel like going to Vegas and stuff. I think that's a fun kind of change of pace, though.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so let us quickly talk about some international titles for this episode. So, uh, look, all the international titles for this are always the casino always wins or the house always wins.
There aren't any particular interesting ones out of the list, or is
No,
it just the two?
it's literally just those two. There's like 10 different languages and they all translate into one of those two.
Man,
Yes, this seems like an episode you could have had fun titling, but
I suppose, though it would supposedly bring up the risk of either spoiling the aspect of the video or maybe not really getting the point of whatnot across.
yeah. I do have some good news for you, though. So I know how much you like Lauren. So good news, Lauren will be in every episode from here on out.
Neat.
Because Lauren is good.
Indeed.
Alrighty. So, if there's nothing else, next week we'll be discussing the episode Slouching Toward Bethlehem.
Uh,
Okay. Cordelia returns, but since she has no memory of who she is or that Angel is a vampire, everyone tries to keep their demon hunting business a secret. After rescuing Cordelia from a demon, Connor takes on the role of her protector, and Lauren reads Cordelia's future to help restore her memory, but sees an approaching apocalypse involving Angel. A dot dot dot.
the kind of big thing that everyone and their grandma has kind of been, oh man, Angel's a player in the apocalypse.
Yeah, and oh, also Cordelia's going to go through her yearbook, so that'll be fun.
Oh boy.
It's going to be a good time. Alrighty, so until next time, I've been Paul.
And I've been Dave.